Okay, welcome everybody to this evening's xauusd webinar. My name is Duncan Cooper. Tonight's webinar is Forex Trading Live Market Analysis, so we'll get into that in a moment. Just to give you a heads up, tomorrow I'll be going through a webinar on market trend. If you want to join me for that and how to determine the market trend across multiple timeframes, then that will be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Sydney time. And then on Thursday, more analysis from me. Again, that will be at 8 p.m. Sydney time. Just head over to the webinar page if you want to join me and register your interest. Okay, before we move along, if everybody can read through the disclaimer, for those on our YouTube live stream, I can't see the chat, but I've given you the link to join us in the webinar if you want to chat to me. For those in the webinar, I've got the chat box open and the Q&A box open. So you can talk to me via either. So just take the time to read through the disclaimer before we move along. All right, let's move along now. For those that don't know me, my name is Duncan Cooper, and I'm Senior Market Strategist and Trading Mentor here at AUDJPY. And I'm full-time Forex trader. I've been trading in the Forex market almost 20 years. Mentoring for more than 10. If you want to contact me about the webinars, my email's there, duncan.cooper@acy.com. And through the week, you can connect with me at our website, which is acy.com. Go to the Market News tab, or at our YouTube channel, which is at ACY Australia. And if you want to connect with me personally, my Linktree page is there. You'll get my links there. If you want to use the chart layouts and templates I'm using MT4, just contact Nathan.bray. His email's on screen. And now for those in the webinar, I'll put his details in the chat. He'll only be too happy to set you up. There we go. All right, so let's get into the news items for the week first of all. All right, so I'm at forexfactor.com. Just going to go through the red items. So tomorrow we have 11 in the morning for New Zealand, official cash rate and RBNZ rate statement, expecting a 50 basis point cut there. So difficult to get positioned on New Zealand cross ahead of then. Moving into Thursday morning, 4 a.m. These times are my time, Queensland time. We have the US FOMC meeting minutes being released. Could be volatile then, but probably the market generally knows what's going to be in there. 10:30 p.m. Thursday into the evening. We then have inflation figures. So US core CPI month on month, CPI month on month, CPI year on year. Expecting a slight downtick. So if we get anything unexpected, it'll be exceptionally volatile. And of course, we also have the unemployment claims for the US. Into Friday, GDP figures, 4 p.m. for the UK, GDP month on month. And then into the evening on Friday at 10:30 p.m. we have Canada's employment change and employment rate. And then more inflation figures from the US being the core PPI data month on month and PPI data month on month for the US. So Thursday, Friday, from the US perspective, that's what the market will be looking at. Is inflation still down ticking according to those figures being released, or the forecast? Does it come in as forecast? Of course, if it upticks, there's going to be a question about whether or not all those interest rates are going to be coming from the Fed that they discussed last month. So guarantee it's going to be volatile of these periods. So make sure you have your trades managed. I wouldn't be opening anything new, I don't think, into these releases. All right, so with all that in mind, let's get into the chart. So nothing too much to worry about today, but of course the New Zealand cross is tomorrow morning. So first up, the US dollar index. Monthly chart here getting support along the 100.30 level, these monthly lows here. We've already had a month up. We're only 8 days into the month. So strong support coming in there. Are we going to be coming all the way up to these tops by the end of the year? We'll have to wait and see. Very strong week up last week following the job figures. And leading into the job figures, we already had, well, that was Friday before, then 4 days up. In fact, let me just backtrack that. That's Friday Thursday. So that was Monday, that blue candle there. So we actually went up every day last week. So we're just having a bit of a pause. But what I would anticipate is we're going to have a little bit of a tracement, or at least pause, before I would think, we could come back to this area here just structurally. And that's assuming we can actually pull back that much. I'm not sure whether we can. We're just having now 1 day down, and we're very strong in trend there at the moment. So I would not be trying to book anything, go against the trend of the US dollar, which is very strongly up at the moment. All right, so that's the picture on the US dollar. S&P 500, it's very sideways up here at the moment. It's just holding above what was the all-time high here at 56.69 and getting rather sideways here. We may stay within the sideways area here at the moment as we wait for the CPI data, because if the CPI data comes in stronger, that will be stock market negative. CPI comes in a lot weaker, that's going to be stock market positive. So we may not see the stock market do anything too strong this week. But the supports, if you want to be a buyer of the index, is coming in on this high at 56.69. Does have a little bit of a structural shift at the moment. We have a lower top here. There's potentially another lower top forming just there. So we could see a break below here. If we break below here, we want to see 56.69 to be resistance to move down. So that's the key level at the moment. 56.69, that's support for the buyers. But do we maybe see a shift below to become sellers? We'll have to wait and see how the week progresses, okay? At the moment, this doesn't, to me, look very appealing. It's slightly downward, sitting on what was the all-time high over here before, and it's not really trending. It's rather flat, so I'd want to see a trend up or down to try and trade, but support is at 56.69 at the moment. Okay, euro dollar, which has been nice trading. Just to the weekly chart, got a number of lines on here, but within these lines, we have on the weekly chart here, a bit of a double top formed there at the 112. And the weekly trend is now trading down, changed down, very strong candle down last week. Will we see a further similar candle this week? If we do, we're going to revisit, we're going to get back down to 108 for sure this week if we have a similar sell-off. Now, as well in this weekly chart, it's worth noting, here's the 79% level of this range. So there is the question that we've maybe had a major failing up here. This could be the high of the year. And we could be, from this 79%, be wanting to, come down into maybe the 105 area, slightly underneath. I'll have to wait and see. CPI data is going to be very important this week. All right, so the weekly trend's turned down, and we've had countless days down now here, and we're just having a day up. Now we've moved, this is the weekly support low that we've broken below. So that would be the logical level at the moment to watch for price to move back to. Depending on the rally, we could move back up to this area too at 110.26. But the first strong level of broken support is here now at 110.01. So pretty much the 110 level. All right, for our chart, it's just coming back up to fill the drop of Friday, the imbalance formed on Friday. Whether or not we come up and fill the whole imbalance, we'll have to wait and see. 62 level there overlaps with that 110.01 level, which is also last month's low. So that could be a critical level of resistance. So this could be where we put in the high of the week. So it's well worth watching up there over the next day or two to see if we fail at the 110 level. And can you see you set up to sell down from that area? Okay. That's assuming that we can get up there, but that would be the level. If I wanted to get short the euro dollar this week, that would be the level I would watch. So I'll just be patient at the moment to see if we can get up there. If things don't get up there, I would then have to look for a lower level set up to get short on. But that would be the area that I would start to watch to see at the moment. Do we hit up there? 62 levels there is at the 110.03 level, so that should really make that box a little bit wider. Really 110 to 103. What happens up there? I'll just be patient and wait and see if we can get up there. I say through the course of today at the moment, that was yesterday's high, which we were holding here, and then we broke above this impulsive move here. If we were to move back below that level today, before getting up there, maybe we can't get there. So if we do move back below there, then I would watch that area to be resistance, about 109.87, to move back down. All right, euro yen. So worth looking at the weekly. The structure on the weekly is up. We're just trading into some higher areas here from the daily chart. There's a weekly area over here at 164.29. So at the moment, we're just trading into a whole bunch of highs. That weekly high there, right, at 164.29. And then the daily, there's a number of highs here. All right. This is an old weekly low, which is acting as some support today. So it wouldn't be bad to look at 162.26 today and try and trade up off that level. But just sometimes you have to go, okay, what's in the way of my trade? And we've got this high here, and another high here, and the weekly high over here. Is you got to make sure you're not trading into any of the highs as you're taking a trade. So you want to try to buy a dip within this trend. And there's a bottom and a top in here to 4 hour. And we have got to the 62 level of that range, which, 3 4 hour candles there either hit it or almost hit it. One hit it, two either side just slightly short. So if I wanted to trade this pair, I would look down to the 162 level. 62 levels at 161.98, and that's this area of 15-minute support. Price coming back down at or close to that area. You can see it's getting support here, just ahead of filling the imbalance here. So it's getting support. That was impulsive, and the buyers are coming in ahead of filling that whole imbalance. So trying to trade something close to 162 would be the go, I think, for the buyers. And as the trends are up, really not interested in selling unless we got back up to 163.48 again, where we failed Friday. If we came up to 163.48 again, so that would be this high here, sorry, this high here. We once more got back up to there and failed, then you'd have to go, okay, we must be topping out at resistance here. So then, of course, you could look for a short. Other than that, structurally, weekly trends up, day trends up, and the 4 hour trend here is really up as well. So 62% dip there at the moment is offering support. It pulling back down there again, if it can, to be user friendly would be ideal. Other than that, you started to see we don't have an upward structure yet, still lower top, lower bottom. But if we do come down and put some form of higher bottom in here today, then I would expect, if we come down and reform a higher bottom, I'd have expectation then that we're heading back up the range. Euro pound, it's at this weekly low here. So weekly structure, you actually draw a fib from that lower top there down to that low, 79% failure there. And today we've tagged the 8,400 weekly low here. So 8,400 or close to would be an ideal area to watch today. Last 4 hour candles spiked up there. And I'm pretty sure if I looked at this 4 hour range here, there's going to be a 62% level in there. There it is. So that's the level. 8,400 level is the level being watched by the market today. Any revisit up there. All right, 8,400 up there is the level to trade down. Could be looking to target back to daily. Could be looking, if you get into a trade, get it risk free, you could be targeting back down to 83.10. If the weekly structure here is going to hold its, well, this is the daily structure actually. We're holding at this weekly low over here. Back down. Rally. Are we coming back down? Like so. So getting a tight entry at 6,400, sorry, 8,400 would be ideal. Try and trade down within that overall trend. Could be choppy though at the moment, because if the euro dollar and the pound dollar are all kind of selling off at the same rates, then it may not go too far. But quite clear at the moment, 8,400 is offering resistance there, in line with the high time frame structure there. Pound dollar. Just at the moment, it is pretty much holding at this 3,100 level. So I just want to go to the weekly chart. Of the major range here, from here down, we've had a turning point at 79% retracement level at 134.03. As I've mentioned, I did get short up there at 134. Still short. And I'm hoping after that very nasty week, last week, we have a continued same vein, another nice week down. Can we move below the 130 level? So that's going to be a level to watch. We've also just tagged this top here at 130.44. But really, 130, is that going to hold a support this week, or can it break? If it breaks, then it does open up the idea that maybe we've had a major top coming in here, and are we moving downwards over time? All right, so here's a daily, it's down. Starting to pause here. So it did get a bit short of 130.44. That weekly top there, and then we have a weekly bottom here. As the weekly structure on this pair, different on the euro dollar, is still up, high bottom, higher top, there is the possibility that if you're bullish, you could be looking to trade up from the 79% retracement here. We're pretty much at that level at the moment, 130.93. So if you're bullish, then this is where you want to start be hunting for a buy, what you set up to buy. All right. 4 hour chart. 4 hour chart still bearish in its lower tops, lower bottoms at the moment. So I'd need to see 4 hour structure turn up maybe to even think about getting bullish after last week's massive decline. But maybe you're bullish. So if you are, you wanted to see, we continually keep failing down here. Say at last week's low. Through the week, if we keep failing at 130.69, last week's low, and start to want to be above the 79% level, or maybe you're bullish and you want to be buying here to come all the way back up the range if that's what price wants to do. So the biggest 79% retracement is the one of the major range up here that we failed at. This one would be then classed as minor in relation to this one. So you have to decide which one are you wanting to trade in line with. I got short pretty much at that 79% level, the major one. All right, so just at the moment, we're having on the day chart, back to it, a positive day, but we're not like the euro dollar where we're having a day up. We can't muster a day. We've had a positive day, then a negative day. We may have a positive day today, but can we muster a day up? Mustering a day up, 131.42 is a weekly high over here. So that's a level to watch to the upside if we can get back above 130.100. what happens at 131.42? Does it hold as resistance? So 4-hour chart, I will start to monitor the range on the 4-hour. Like so. 15. 62 levels at 3105 and figures at 3100, and we're pretty much, as you can see here, kind of struggling in that area just there. And we've really just come back to this area that we broke below yesterday. We broke below the figure there, created a couple of imbalanced candles, and we've just come back up to fill any imbalance there. In the end, the imbalance may not quite be filled, maybe a couple of pips of it left, but to the bottom of that candle just there. So we've pretty much filled it. Maybe there's a pip worth left on the imbalance there. Okay, that's really the sell zone at the moment for the pound. You can see last negative candle from the figure, and we're starting to sell on the current candle. So you can get short, you know, if you want a tight entry, you get short now. Maybe put your stop a little bit above the 62 level, so maybe at about 20 pip stop, just getting above there somewhere. Entry, targeting a breakdown through here. All right. Pound yen, weekly trend is up. It's just above weekly old resistance here, 193.47. Day trend's up. It's trying to hold above here at the moment. So 193.47 is support potentially. 4-hour. Like the euro again, 62%. 3 rejection candles down at 62%. So I would watch. We've already been down here 3 times, but this area here, I would watch that area for support today again. Can we come back down there and hold one more time? Because this 15-minute chart at the moment is structurally down. So what you want to see is this come down and it wants to put in a higher bottom. Because you can see there, it's lower top, lower bottom. Are we forming a lower top here at the moment to come down? We need to see a higher bottom. Great if it came into these highs and held. And then if it starts to come back up, that's the area to start to look for a buy to move back up the range. So weekly trends up, day trends up at the moment. Not really inclined. And you can see over here to the left, we've just come back to fill the imbalance on Friday. That's why we're getting support there. All right. So one more retest of the area to hold would be great for the buyers. Not that keen to be a seller because higher time frame trends are up. All right, getting into Aussie yen. Weekly trend here is up, higher bottom, higher top. This 102.82 area, just worth noting on the monthly chart that we have some tops to the left here. So if we come up, you need to know where that top is at 102.82. Weekly, not wanting to hold above this top at the moment. I don't like that. Daily. So the last 2 candles were holding on top of that top there. Now we've dropped below because the Aussie's been weak today. So Monitor is going to go to the 4-hour chart, which is probably going to be this low to high for last week's range, which it is. Could monitor the range of last week. Trends are up, but it's not. It's obviously failing at this high over here at the moment. And went to the 62% area. So 62% area very common at the moment on the yen crosses. Could monitor. So of the weekly range, here's the 62.79% zone. Could monitor that zone this week. Can you see something structurally start to form on the 15-minute chart? But the 15-minute chart's just putting a little higher top here. And we've just had a little 62% retracement. So this is actually turned bullish on the 15-minute chart from that zone. And we've had a trend line break as well. However you want to kind of come up with a change in trend on the 15-minute chart there. Just turn bullish on the 15-minute chart. So if you're wanting to trade the Aussie yen, this might be the prime time. Down to that 62% zone of last week's range. Are we starting to move up from that area? Aussie dollar to the weekly. So I've been discussing, I know it looks like there's a lot of lines here, but top of the range being here. Bottom of the range being here. It's a little bit neater on the New Zealand dollar, but there's a definite range there. So whilst on the weekly, we do have a higher bottom here, higher top. Have we failed up here at these highs? Are we moving back down to the bottom of the range, where we came from? All right. So whilst the weekly trend is up, the daily turned down. A bit overextended in the short term. Like, we had a bit of a rally on that positive day there, but then we're 4 straight days down. So I wouldn't want to sell it on the 4th straight day down. I'd like to see a little bit of a rally somewhere. For our chart, at least look for a 4-hour rally. As and when it can come, and then look to the 62.79% area. So if that keeps moving down, keep dragging the fib down, and then look to the 62.79% zone for a rally back to, and then a turnover. And there's also last week's low in that zone there too, which would be great to rally back to. So we've already broken last week's low, already, selling down. So if you've been watching the pairs, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar have been selling down. Pound dollar, euro dollar have been getting a bit of support early in the week. And often the case when we go negative, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar will go first. So I'd anticipate maybe the euro dollar and pound dollar will catch up during the week, maybe. All right. Now we've got interest rate decision tomorrow from the New Zealand crosses. New Zealand yen here on the day chart is putting in a lower top. So traders of the New Zealand yen are definitely expecting an interest rate cut of 50 basis points and probably more to come because we have a lower top there happening. Higher bottom, lower top. Now, I wouldn't be trading this till after the event, but this is definitely looking very weak on the high side. So if we did revisit 91.65, that may be a very good level to try to sell down from if we do get some kind of a relief rally tomorrow. Because quite clearly the market is putting in a lower top there. All right. Quite difficult at the moment because we could get support down here from this weekly low over here. And there's a daily low just there. So 89.94 is support. 91.65 is resistance here. And, we might just be trying in between there. So as I'm looking at the yen pairs, this is the least attractive at the moment, especially leading into the interest rate decision tomorrow. But I would certainly look, any rally, I would look at 91.65 for further failure. All right, New Zealand dollar. We'll just go to the weekly, the range I've been discussing. I got short. I thought I got short at 63.65. I actually got short at 63.60. Not that it matters, but I'm pretty sure I said 65 last week. All right, so there's a weekly double top here, or at least the top of a range. It's all coming from this area here. Double top there, we false broke on that candle. All right. And of course, the support down here. So similar to what I was showing in the Aussie, but this is a little bit more cleaner because these are all equal highs across there. Apart from that false break, that high and that high pretty much equal within a pip or two. And I'm not sure if we traded below that low. Don't think we've quite traded below that low yet, but of course the question this week will be, are we going to break this low and are we heading down to support? 58.50 approximate level down here, 58.51. All right. Difficult to get short if you're not already short because of course we've had 5 straight days, six days down. We're having a little bit of a bounce here as we're leading into the interest rate decision, but as a trader, I can't short here because I'm on support. I would need to see some upward move or a break. So I'd either need to see, like a day up. So we get higher up and then kind of see some kind of failure intraday. Or I'm going to need to see this break below and 61.06 to be resistance. So I might need a few days for this to occur. That to be resistance to then trade down. Difficulty is if we get a very dovish result tomorrow from the interest rate decision, so a week, that'll probably just break 61.06 and then it might not look back. So it is difficult if you're not already short. If we get a significant rally, of course, these double tops up here. So 62.14 to 62.21. A rally up to here would be great for the sellers if you want to get short to then look to trade down. All right. So just at the moment, it's very overextended. Might not give you any time to get short if you're not already short, because if it's very dovish tomorrow and then CPI maybe from the US is very positive, we could be down at the bottom at 58.51 this week. Maybe just go straight down. All right, but putting all the news events aside, I would anticipate at the moment some kind of bounce here. And then look to sell a rally with the idea that we're moving down to 58.51. Now, if you're more bullish, you should be looking at 61.06. You may be thinking, well, I just think we're pulling back to support here to go all the way back up here. If that's your frame of mind, well, 61.06 area here is your area where you need to start to look for a reversal. We're still lower top, bottom, lower top here. We've actually rallied this day back to broken last week's low, and that held as resistance. So at the moment, whilst it's just holding support, broken resistance, last week's low is holding as resistance. See it here. So if you want to get short, really, from an intraday perspective, last week's low is being resistance at the moment. You can see it over here. Got broke. So it's about 61.45 area is intraday resistance at the moment. And if you're on the buy side, quite clear 61.06 is support. So those are the two intraday areas at the moment for the New Zealand dollar for the sellers and the buyers. Dollar Canadian, it's done what I've been anticipating. I've been saying from the monthly perspective that higher bottom, higher top, whilst very range bound, we pull back to 62%. This is the weekly chart look. Bit of a minor double bottom here. So we're really at a triple bottom in this area of sorts. Strong 2-week rally at the moment. If we trade above this weekly top, that's going to turn the weekly trend to up. I've been saying for weeks that we're probably coming up to fill this imbalance area here. And because I'm bullish, be it that that's the monthly range, right? This is a pullback within it to the 62% area. I would anticipate then we're going to come up to try and take this top out. Now, it won't just go straight up, and we're all like 4 or 5 days up at the moment. But it'd be nice if we could take this top out at some point. I would watch 136.47 at the moment. For a break, can it become resistance? Now, I might need to wait a few trading days. So can we break? Hold resistance, can it become support, I should say, to move higher? Next major level of resistance after this one is up here at 37.91. Okay. All right, one level we definitely have moved above over the last, this was a weekly low here at 35.88. So even if we can't trade above this high at the moment, from a dip perspective, buyers should watch a dip back down to 35.88. What happens at 35.88 if we dip once more? That should be support. So from a buyer's perspective, I would look at that level if we can have a dip. All right. Right now, it's a little bit difficult. You can't just buy here because you're buying into resistance and we are 5 positive days up. So you need either a breakout and then a pullback, or 1 or 2 days down and watching 135.88 here to be support, ideally. Dollar franc, which has been rather range bound and may well still want to be range bound. I would watch for another movement back down to the bottom of this range where we've got highlighted here. So support is at 84.32, 7% level 84.43. If I wanted to trade this pair, I would watch for that zone down there. Now, whether or not the market will offer it, I don't know. If we get a clear breakout above this area, then that area is now finished. But of course, we don't have a clear break above there at the moment. So I will just be patient and wait for, see if we can give you a very user-friendly dip. All right, dollar yen, uptrends versus the US dollar. Yeah, dollar versus the yen, uptrend there on the dollar side that we've been seeing on the dollar index. And we've just broken above 147.20. It's worth noting before we get into that, this area maybe could be support today. From the monthly chart perspective, we could have a false break double bottom here and we could be coming all the way back up, or at least to this high here at 151.94. Weekly is putting a little bit of a higher bottom just in here. That was an outside candle. So it's actually, whilst people will say it's not textbook, little kind of left shoulder head, right shoulder affair here, inverted. So I would anticipate we're strong trending up at the moment. And let's just get rid of that. We actually had a day down and a day up there on Friday. So at the moment, the range is here to the fire. And if we pull back to this high, which is 147.20, lines up with the 62% level, that would be the buy area. Now, we haven't quite got there yet, whether we do actually get down there, because the last 3 candles, like the other yen pairs, rather wicky down there. So that's just proving to you that the buyers are coming in. But that would be the area to watch to be a buyer on the dollar yen, down there at 147.20. Drop down to the 15. Still structurally down here on the 15, so it could still as long as it puts in a lower top here, it could still come down into here through the course of the day. Especially if we're still seeing, let's go back, we're still seeing positivity on the pound, which we're not. So we're getting a little bit bearish just there. You know, if we start still seeing euro dollar moving up, still got a little bit of a bid. It's not quite breaking down yet, but if this was to come up to 110, I'm sure that would maybe just help the dollar yen move down to its support level. So we'll see what the rest of the day brings. All right. Well, let's just finish with gold. All right, so there's no, squash this in. So all these, let's go to my weekly. Massive uptrends. I don't really need any of these lines in other than this one. That's support, key support at the moment on the weekly chart. You know, the monthly chart, we're in a massive trend here at the moment. The problem with the trend is once it's so overextended, it's a question of, well, who's still buying such high prices? It doesn't say that the physical trend is changing. If we have a month down, the monthly trend is still up. The monthly trend wouldn't change. There's a minor low here. If we broke this minor low here, that would, you know, if we broke, in fact, if we broke below this low here, this top here, 21.90.21. If we broke back below there, then you could say maybe it's all over, this uptrend. But at the moment, definite trend there. It's just very much overextended. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 months up at the moment. Weekly trend is up. Last bottom is here, and I would look at this as overextended on the weekly too in this range. I'd want to see a pullback to the 62.79 zone as a trader. Now, the market may not want to do that at all because it's so strong, but we are very high at the moment. So the thing that I would be concerned about is how much further can it go before it has at least some form of healthy correction. Even if you just measure these corrections, you know, similar correction that we had there would take us into that area of support, which would be great. So I would say it's way too high to be a buyer at the moment. Can we have a healthy pullback? All right. And it's a little bit lower top sideways here at the moment. You know, difficult trade at the moment. We did go up to a higher top from a lower bottom. Then we got a lower top. Now we have broken the bottom and broken that bottom. So this is actually on the 4-hour chart trend down. So trading the lower time frame intraday trends, that is down. Long-term trend is up, but you know, structurally right now, you'd want to look for a rally to maybe the 62.79% area. So that's 26.47 to 26.52. So can we rally, put in a 4-hour lower top to continue the corrective phase down? Are we going to break below last week's low and start to have a week down? All right, that's my view there on gold. So for those coming in late, market may be a little bit quiet and range bound as we are heading through the week because we do have 2 big events on Thursday, Friday, the US CPI data, then the PPI data, inflation figures that the market obviously wants to know. Is inflation still further moving down to confirm all those potential rate cuts? Because if it upticks, then that would at least put a question in. And if the markets are expecting lower CPI and lower interest rates, why is the US dollar selling off so heavily? I know we had great job figures, but as a collective thing, wouldn't you think that the US dollar would be not so strong? So I don't know if the market is really that convinced. We'll have to wait and see. But be very aware of these two items coming out through the week. We might be a little bit sideways, the likes of the pound and the euro dollar, and the pound may still want to come back up a bit. You know, this big drop on Friday's job figures, price may want to come back up this way to fill that area at some point. I haven't said that. Tuesday, we are looking a little bit negative here. Lower tops forming on the 15. Can't get up to 110. And the pound putting in a lower top. Difficult to draw a trend line in here. It's too acute, but price breaking this swing point is going to turn that 50-minute structure straight back to down. We've already got a lower top there forming at 131. All right, so looking a little bit weak intraday at the moment, pound dollar and euro dollar. I'll finish on that. If you want to join me tomorrow, head over to the webinar page. There's the link at the top. And tomorrow I will be going through how to determine the market trend across multiple time frames. If you want to join me for that, then just register your interest and I look forward to seeing you then. Other than that, have a great trading day and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everybody.